What's up, guys? Today we're here with Axel, CEO and co-founder of FriggHome. It's been 1 year since we've done the first podcast, and today we'll try to dive into the specific of FriggLiquids because I heard there's some big news about it. So, how are you, Axel?
Hello, my friend. It's a pleasure, and it's been a pleasure to do this podcast a year ago. So I'm looking forward to do this podcast with you, talking about a lot of interesting things, I guess.
All right, so can you start by giving us the core mission of FriggHome and an overview about what you've been working on it since 1 year?
Sure. I would like to start with a question. It's like, do you know what contributed to the mass adoption of the internet?
Not really.
So many people would say it's the utility, it's the library of informations and things like this. But actually, this was up before the mass adoption, right? So what brought utility to what brought the mass adoption, and now we have multiple billions of people using internet every day, is actually the hardware, is the Wi-Fi box you put in your home. And I think you would agree with me if you say that the world needs internet right now. And I think you would agree even more if I tell you that the world needs the blockchain, right? And that's precisely the goal of FriggHome. We are aiming to create the mass adoption for blockchain with the hardware, just like the internet. It's the same mental model.
Okay, if I remember well, it's kind of a link between AI, DePIN, and some DeFi, as you told about blockchain.
Yeah, that's true. So we have a specific roadmap that link every dot together because, yeah, if we say, like a lot of buzzword, like we have AI, we have DePIN, we have all of this cool stuff. Like people say, how do you do this? Yeah, we don't do this at once, right? We have step-by-step roadmap. So first, as you mentioned in the introduction, like we are deploying FriggLiquid, which is a DeFi protocol on Ethereum and the rollup. It's a cross-chain protocol that aim to facilitate DeFi management for the user, And after that, we have the FriggBox, which is the small hardware I told you about, like for the internet box. This hosts our network. This also, because you power our network, you host also the blockchains we host on our infrastructure, and you get revenue share from this. So as a DeFi user, you won't yield, right?
I won't.
You won't yield. So it's you have like all the interest in the world to participate in our ecosystem softwarely. I don't know if you can say this, but like in a software way, but also in the hardware way. So you can also spread the risk and have multiple yield, that are actually based on something tangible. And after, from there, so this is DeFi to DePIN. Also, there's multiple stream of income. There's not only blockchain hosting and revenue sharing. There is more of this, But after DePIN and DeFi, there is AI. And how do we implement AI into this? That's a big question, right? We are turning connected smart devices, which is IoT, into BOT. So instead of those smart devices connected to the internet, it's connected to the blockchain. And we are creating an ecosystem with those. So basically, you would have your smart coffee machine, you would have your smart windows, your smart TV, smart lock, that will be connected to the FriggBox. And from there, because it's such a central piece, as you all can understand from our ecosystem, we will be able to implement an AGI that can manage for you, if you want, your home. So it turns your home into a smart home. And from there, you're able to earn cash because of DeFi. you are able to protect your data privacy without not following the future trend. Because, okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think AI will be everywhere in the future or not?
I think everyone will use it for sure, as we are seeing into the little ecosystem of the entrepreneurs and crypto guys, traders, and everyone, I think, used it at the moment. So I would say yes, probably.
So you have all the interest in the world to use FriggHome for your home because we are decentralized and distributed network. We do not own your data. And we are using data privacy protocols such as FHE, which stands for fully homomorphic encryption, that will protect yourself. So we do not own your data.
That sounds good. So if I'm right, you were talking first about FriggLiquid. So it will be the first step for you to implement everything you were talking about.
Yes.
Why that position? Why did you start with FriggLiquid and not with something else on the roadmap?
There is a lot of reasons why, and I thank you for asking this question. I would say the first reason is we understood that there is a lot of problem in the DeFi protocol. In general, it's a fragmented space. It's highly theoretical. And, I could even ask you this question again. Like, did you ever enjoy to use a DeFi dashboard?
It's complex. You need to learn a bit about the protocol, how it works, and do a lot of transaction to remember how you have to do it and which road you have to take to make your swaps or bridge. Or
So now imagine, what if we take all of those protocols, Rocket Pool, Lido, some restaking protocol, whatever, and we combine them into one seamless dashboard. So it's easy to use. You can just track your APY or APR, whatever, into one single place, and then you can just swap it inside the same dashboard. My CTO loves to say one thing to the new engineer, and I really love his quote. It's, we should centralize the way we interact, the UI, the dashboard, if you prefer. But we should decentralize all the backend, all the mechanisms, so no one owns everything, right? So this is precisely why. It's because we saw an opportunity where there was a big fragmented market, and we are trying to gather all the pieces together. And the second thing, we are not here just to create a new DeFi protocol, right? We are here to stay in the future and make an impact in people's life. And how we do this is by going step by step. So we are looking at most of the L1s nowadays, the layer 1 blockchains. They are making a race on who has the fastest TPS, the interoperability. Sorry, French accent, it's broken. So it's basically a race, like who has the best performance, right? But they forget that we need use case, right? So FriggLiquid is a proof of concept for our infrastructure. And then we will release the infrastructure. First, we prove that we have utility, then infrastructure, and then more utility. It's a flywheel.
Okay, so if I understand well, you will provide an easy tool without any friction for users like crypto enjoyers, traders to stack and restack Ethereum through FriggLiquid. That's the main goal.
Yeah, that's the first main goal. Yeah, so FriggLiquid, we are, we believe in omni-chain. So on the long term, if we can be kind of effective bridge using our physical infrastructure to connect all the blockchain and act as, a layer that unify everything, that will be, a big step forward, I believe. But right now we are focusing on the Ethereum ecosystem, and most particularly because we see, I think you saw this last year, that L2s, roll-ups, they're taking a lot of places, and we want to connect everything. It's still a fragmented space as well, but it's in the Ethereum ecosystem, and there is many things to do.
Maybe you can tell us what's the process to generate some LST, because I know you will use them. So how is it working?
LST, so it solved an old problem. Back then, when you were stacking ETH on a DeFi protocol, you should have let's say you have one ETH. I'm, I don't know, PancakeSwap. You stack on my platform. I lock it for 1 year, and after 1 year, you can come and take your ETH with the yield you generated. But the problem with this is, for example, what if the market goes up or goes down? If the market goes up, you buy, you stack, and after 1 year it's down. Okay, maybe you generated more ETH, but it's still pegged to, it's not pegged, but it's still related to a dollar, right? So if the ETH is worth $1,000, and when you stack it, it was worth $2,000, even if you generated 10%, you don't give a damn, you only have 1,100. So this was a big problem, and now not us, but for a few years now, there is something called liquid stacking, which solved this problem. So now if you have one ETH, you can just stack it, and they give you back a proof that it's yours. If I take the leader right now, it's a Lido. It's called Lido. So you stack one ETH, you will get ST ETH, which is your kind of voucher. You have one ST ETH, which is like when you exchange it into the protocol, they will give you back your ETH plus the yield, and you remain liquid. This is the big thing about this. You remain liquid. You don't have, if you have a strategy, because after that you can do many things, right? If you have a strategy, you say, okay, after 3 months, I take back my ETH and I put it there. You can. Back then you couldn't. So this is why it's called liquid staking token. It's because this token is a voucher and you remain liquid. It allows you to remain liquid on the market.
Okay.
Such a long explanation.
So FriggLiquid is optimizing Ethereum through hardware, the box. And can you elaborate a bit on this and how this hardware will reduce fees and improve the stacking experience?
Yeah, if we look at where Ethereum right now is, where it is stored, we can clearly see that it's stored on most of the time data centers, such as AWS. More than 60% of the nodes on Ethereum are in Amazon AWS, which creates centralization at the end, right? So there is a loss of it's not optimal, right? It's not optimal. So by creating our infrastructure, which is distributed and decentralized, we aim to solve this problem, which will bring much more security for the DeFi user. If I give you an example, I think you know this DEX. It's an old DEX, but it's a good one. It's called DYDX. DYDX couldn't work in December 2021. And why? Because Amazon AWS had problem. So what if 60% of those nodes hosted in Amazon crash, Amazon stopped working? Okay, it sounds crazy to say Amazon will stop working. It's probability, right? So there is low probability, but it doesn't mean 0% chance. There's an atomic bomb from enemy country from USA that stopped the data center. Where is Ethereum in this, So we are optimizing Ethereum by bringing more security through this distributed network. By doing so, we also allow edge, computer. How do you say? The hardware can compute, at edge, and as you know, the closer you are to the user, the more efficient it is. So this is one of the reasons why we can optimize Ethereum as well.
That makes sense. And there was a story about it a few weeks ago, maybe 1 week ago, with NFTs, because a big collection, was it artifact from Nike, who bought it years ago, and they forgot probably to pay the servers, and just the image gone wrong, and all the collection was blackout. So it made a lot of posts on X, and everything was funny to see. And that's pictures a bit what you're saying. So
I saw that. Yeah, it was good. Also, how much was the floor price? Crazy floor price, I believe.
Yeah, but it dumped a lot because Nike just said we're stopping everything. But back there, I think they made like $180 million thanks to this project, and just left the boat. So
Man,
if you bought
that's big topic, right? In this industry, I feel like half of the builders are there for the tech, and half of the other builders are just there for the money. And it's even less. It's maybe like 20% for the tech and 80% for the money only. What do you think about that?
it's difficult. Into NFTs, I would say people are here for the art, but we know it's not the right answer. And a lot of grifters in this ecosystem, and it's just too early, I think, because there's no any regulation. You can basically sell whatever you want to anyone, but without consequences. That's the trouble at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not a mature ecosystem.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because NFT is a very interesting and promising technology. It's not only JPEG, right?
It depends the vision you have about it, but yeah, I think you can make a lot of different use case with them, like soulbounds, and there's great opportunities, but it's too early just. So yeah, can you tell us a bit about something that I'm sure the people behind this camera want to know? What about the reward system and the yield that will probably provide the box? Or
I think that's a big subject for DePIN project because I'm not going to quote those companies. I'm not going to call them out to have a meeting in the octagon, but there is some companies back then that started this thing with hardware that make you passive income, etc. The thing is, they did not have real utility. So basically, they just raised a bunch of money, created their token, and distributed it among the early adopter, and after spread the token generation. And that's a new form of Ponzi, basically, right? So it's been a while. We are thinking about tokenomics in the team. It's been more than a year right now, almost since the beginning, right? And what we choose for now, as of 3rd of May, or beginning of May 2025. Okay, we'll have maybe a token later, but right now we are first looking to have utility across our infrastructure, and this will allow the people that host the hardware to make real income. Okay. But so how you do this? Where does it come from? It comes from the DApp on our infrastructure, the blockchains that we are hosting. Also, when you do this, you share bandwidth. Of course, you're private, you're secured, but you share this, and we can use it to after provide B2B services. Once again, your data is private. We're not sharing your data. It's just allocating resources from our hardware, from our Friggbox. And by doing so, we are able to accumulate a lot of kinds of revenue income stream and then distribute back to the people because it's a network for the people.
Okay. And maybe you have some numbers to share about FriggLiquids and how many yields you can make on your platform. Is it a bit better from the others, or?
So, I hope we will be able to show a demonstration on how the dashboard looks, because it's very simple, it's very cool. And on this platform, we try to make everything simple. So if you stack your ETH on a platform, by default, I mean, it's not by default, but you will have like a pop-up message, do you want to optimize your yield? And the person can say yes or no, whatever. And by doing so, by saying yes, it restake the liquid stacking token. So like this, you can just optimize your yield in one click, And right now it's complicated to do this between like swapping, transferring, all the time you have to pay gas fee. But with us, it's intra or network. So this is very different, and you can just optimize and generate much better yield. Also, you're able to track every protocol that we're hosting, right? So you can basically swap to always get the best APR. You can restake in one click, as I said, and just the APR will be much better on our platform than on anything else.
Okay, that makes sense. And we know security in DeFi is a big subject. So we'd like to know how does FriggHome ensure safety of the assets and on FriggLiquid, I mean. So can you tell us a bit about that kind of security?
Yeah, sure. There is multiple. Web3 is cruel now. Web3 is cruel. There is multiple threat. You will have a smart contract threat. So basically, a hacker comes and hack the smart contract and take every liquidity possible. You have like bad players. For example, we saw with Mantra. So I'm not accusing no one, but we saw that there was someone that dumped the token and benefit from it. And you have the third is the infrastructure. Like we talked about Amazon AWS, when it stopped working. Like when it's working, with everyone is ignoring it, but when it stopped working, everyone is throwing the stone at it, right? So I think I already talked about the third point. Let's talk about the second point. All of our team is doxed. I mean, I'm in front of people. I'm talking. So I have no problem to make appearance in a crypto event. I have no problem to be there and chat with people. So and all of my team is doxed. Like if you want to find us on LinkedIn, you can. And that shows how transparent we are with people. Because if we were here on the short term, we would use fake names, etc., which is not the case. I'm telling you, because I have some insight from other people. Also, about the story of our company, it's my father's vision, right? And my father passed away. So it's not a normal company. It's a company with a spirit. And I will make everything possible to make my dad proud. So I'm not here to do bad things that he would certainly be mad at me for. And the first thing about the smart contract, we have a very good tech team, obviously, but we are not blind. We're working with external companies. I cannot quote them here because I didn't ask them if I can quote them, but we are literally like working with the new type of smart contract audit, so we can prevent from strange things to happen.
So now I want to talk a bit about the Bitcoin DeFi. I know you've heard about it. A lot of people are starting to make threads about it, and different companies are going all the way down into the hole, the hole of Bitcoin.
Of Bitcoin.
Yeah, only. And I think it's crazy to see decentralized finance on Bitcoin, as a few years ago, we couldn't even imagine this. It was only through smart contracts on ETH and on other layers. So Bitcoin always seen as a digital gold, I would say, like a store of value. Now the vision of it is getting bigger and bigger. We can see a lot of improvements. So how do you see the DeFi evolving on Bitcoin, and what roles could FriggHome play inside this ecosystem, if you can say?
You know, I think that's a controversial subject almost, because I think you will have three type of people on Bitcoin. First type of people will be like Bitcoin is a scam, so we don't talk to them because we both know it's not. Second type of people would be the people that think Bitcoin is only a great store of value. And I can agree with them, right? I have Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin. It is a great store of value. And the third type of people, it's what we're talking now, is like, okay, we have Bitcoins. What do we do with it, right? Is this just like gold, or we just hiding below our bed, or can we do something with it? And I think I've seen it in a podcast that they say that if Satoshi Nakamoto saw everything we did with Ethereum, um, if he saw that, like he would have think like it's a very smart idea. And I think we can do something with it. We can get yield from Bitcoin, and it's actually something we are looking for on FriggHome. We are open. I told you we want to do omni-chain in the future when I were focusing on Ethereum, but we did a big amount of R&D on SHE 256, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a double SHE, as my CTO would say. But FriggHome, we aim to do Bitcoin DeFi as well by hosting the protocol that are allowing that, such as Babylon, for example.
Okay, so you know very well the subject of Bitcoin and others. I would say project like Babylon's Bedrock, introducing that DeFi on Bitcoin. It's great to see that Friggs already on it and have done a lot of research and development about Bitcoin, because as we see, it's growing very fast. Can you tell us a bit about the stacking and restacking on Bitcoin, and how was the technical challenges to implement it? If your R&D already done some works on it, can you guide us a bit about it?
Yeah, so I cannot obviously release or work like this, but what I can tell you is the problem with Bitcoin, like why we haven't seen DeFi before, is there is no smart contract on Bitcoin, right? And it's a proof of work. It's a proof of work blockchain, which means it costs a lot of energy to produce. This is this is one of the reasons why Ethereum changed from proof of work to proof of stake. So for Bitcoin, because there is no smart contract and there is no proof of stake architecture, we need protocol like Babylon that ensure cross-chain security. Put your Bitcoin, on Ethereum, for example, with a process like wrapping Bitcoin, etc., and then you can use it. So how because some people might not know how it works. When you wrap a token, if I'm not mistaking, is like when you put it in kind of a vault, it's just lock in, and then on the other you have like the equivalent of it, and you can use it, and after you have to, redeem it.
Yeah, that's right. Because I've tried a protocol like this a few weeks ago, and you had to connect MetaMask and the Bitcoin wallet, like can't remember, Xverse probably I used, and I've sent the Bitcoin on the protocol. Then I receive a token of my MetaMask on Ethereum, saying, yeah, I had deployed like $1K dollars of Bitcoin on the protocol through stacking with a yield, and I received the proof that I already have this token, but on ETH. And now to unstack it, I have to do the same road, but on the other way. So
Yeah.
from the MetaMask, I had to claim it. There's like 10 days to wait from the protocol to to say, yes, you have those tokens, we can redeem it to you. And then after you can redeem it on the Xverse wallet, so the Bitcoin wallet. It's a bit tricky, but it works. I know the thing is, if you need your liquidity right now, it's like a stacking. You have 1 week or two to wait. That's a bit a problem to me, but it's working.
That's the thing. You see, it's like it's not normie friendly, right?
Yeah.
You bought some Bitcoin because you heard Donald Trump wants to make a Bitcoin reserve. You buy some Bitcoin after you're like, okay, what do I do? After you have a whole bunch of technical words and knowledge to understand, and this is why FriggHome is there as well. Like we are trying to simplify everything.
Yeah, and as you said, it's very hard to understand how it's working behind the interface user. So, and I don't want to understand it.
That's it. You don't want, right? Like when you're signing up for a Facebook account. Sorry, I'm old, guys. You don't want to understand how the how it works, like where your information go. I mean, you should understand where your information go, but I mean, what the back end is like.
Yeah, you're right. It's always a problem when you didn't came on a DEX or on a protocol since a few weeks, few months. You have everything inside your head, so you forgot something. You don't remember how it works, and you're like, oh damn, this is complex. How do I redeem? How do I stake? How do I do this? So that makes sense. So FriggLiquid focuses on if LSTs. Can we say maybe in the future we can see some liquid restacking tokens too?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, maybe by using the tokenization of Bitcoin derivative, maybe we can achieve something like this. I believe. So we are still working on it. We are making good progress. As I said, I cannot, say everything. Otherwise, we'll have like other people that listen to this can have an edge if we just take my word. But no, I do believe that when we penetrate in the market, let's say like after like a lot of innovation, we'll just like go from there.
So can we see some interoperabilities between ETH and Bitcoin through FriggLiquid in the future, or how do you see it from your perspective and your vision?
Yeah, we are actually working on a cross-chain bridge, that aims to link everything.
Sounds good. Maybe you can talk a bit about the yields or your use case that we can envision through Bitcoin restaking.
Imagine you have a Bitcoin that make you between 3 to 5% APY, which is crazy, right? Like you stake your Bitcoin on Kraken, it gives you 0.1% because they just like take Bitcoin from their pocket to give it to you. Right? But with innovation like this, probably you can earn between 3 to 5% APY. And from there, can you imagine that if Bitcoin can secure it like Ethereum, it will be something crazy, right?
Yes.
And I think maybe something, maybe in restaking or something can be done.
That's crazy idea because it's like some people are saying, yeah, Bitcoin is digital gold. So probably you can have some gold stacking, giving you some little child, so 3 to 5%. It's crazy.
Yeah, I do believe so. What they say is like, as you say, it's the digital gold. The real, like one of the value of Bitcoin is the technological algorithm behind, right? And because it's an algorithm, you can always do things with it. While gold, it's solid, it's particles, right? You can't do much. But with the code, you can do some things.
So to you, gold is useless.
No, I'm not saying this, this is gold, for example. But no, I mean, like, we are living in a world ruled by technology since the beginning of humanity. If you just look at why nations were more powerful than other nations, is because most of the time they were just much more equipped in technology. If, for example, it's sad to say, but if English went in USA and made a war with American native people, and they won, they didn't know the landscape. Like the Native American knew much more the landscape because they were native, right? But the English had guns. They had things that American native didn't, so they could dominate like this. And if we look at the humanities like this, like the person with the best technology just win the thing. Even for Wall Street, what happened since there is the high frequency trading, everyone started to fire their trader and hire engineer. So on every aspect of the life, every industry, technology, the one who has the best technology win at the end, with the best plan as well, right? It's not only technology.
And that's the goal of FriggHome.
That's the goal of FriggHome. Yeah.
I knew. So maybe you can tell us a bit about the risk from a user perspective inside the Bitcoin DeFi, which you should be aware by participating in stacking or restacking. And how does FriggHome manage to mitigate those risks?
Yeah, you see, I think we come back to those 3 points. Like on the infrastructure level, we are decentralized, which remove the centralization point of failure. The second thing is the people. We are all doxed in the team. And the first thing is the smart contract audit. Like we are literally working with the best audit company to audit our own smart contract. But it's not a one-time thing. It's like every smart contract got to be audited all the time. And I think AI is great for that. It's not only AI, there is human as well. But AI is a new thing for that.
Yeah, it's helping a lot in...
It can scan your smart contract 24/24, you know?
Yeah, like a second brain, but...
Yeah, exactly. If you look at how AI works, it is based on the human brain, actually. We call that neuronal network. Neuronal, you know.
Yeah. So looking ahead of everything we've said, where do you see Bitcoin DeFi in 5 years? Like, and how does it can affect FriggHome plans for the future too? Can you tell us about your vision?
Yes, we can see the government, the institution, even the retails, they all know Bitcoin. They are all adopting Bitcoin, right? And what if we can actually make them money with Bitcoin? And if us, and I would say even we, all the protocols working on this important topic, we can get there, making profit on this. I think Bitcoin DeFi will go above Ethereum DeFi. Ethereum DeFi is great. I think it's the greatest right now. Okay, a lot of people do Solana DeFi, it's good, etc. But I think Ethereum stay the king. But if we can make Bitcoin as simple and as profiting as Ethereum DeFi, then Bitcoin will stay king, and even on the DeFi aspect.
And based on the total market cap from Bitcoin between versus Ethereum, it's crazy just to imagine a bit how big it can become.
Yeah, I think how much is the dominance right now? Like 65-70%, maybe more.
Yeah, it's been crazy lately.
So I don't think there is much more to say about Bitcoin DeFi, you know.
All right, so thanks a lot, Axel, for all those answers. Very interesting topics and the future of the vision from your perspective, CEO of FriggHome.
Thank you. Follow FriggHome account on X.
Yeah.
I make my promo.
Do not forget to follow FriggHome on X. And hopefully we'll do another podcast in 1 year, like each year, I think. Or maybe another at
daily,
the
like a yearly update. I will do maybe something sooner. Thank you very much for the conversation.
Thanks a lot. See you guys.